Welcome to the show this week. We've got a special guest, Rider University middle infielder Johnny Volpe. Johnny getting ready for his junior year. One of the key or big hits in Rider history last year. We'll get into talking about that, his trip to the NCAA tournament, summer experiences, and getting ready to try to repeat in 2022. Johnny, welcome, and how we doing?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all, and just excited to be here. Doing pretty well, so.
So your summer was a little bit different than some of the guys we talked about too lately. In fact, your buddy Trey over at Monmouth, your roommate Frank, you did not have a trip to the Cape, unlike those guys, because you didn't play a whole lot this summer. And tell us what happened late last year in the season.
Yeah, so about midway through last year, I actually broke my foot. A couple ligaments in it were torn. So the whole summer I was kind of just rehabbing my foot and just like lifting and preparing for the fall. So I had a total different aspect as they did. From them playing baseball every single day, I was kind of the exact opposite. I was just trying to get back to playing baseball every single day.
Miss it more when it's gone, right?
Oh my God, like no idea. Like you really start to miss it when you can't play. So yeah, so I was just lifting, kind of just getting in shape for the fall and just preparing to get back rather than playing. So
now you got hurt during the season, right? Middle of the year. We just didn't really know the extent of it until afterwards. Is that
yeah, so I actually got hurt in Manhattan in our first game there. So that was right around halfway through the season. And we didn't really, I don't want to say we didn't want teams to know so they could like utilize my injury, whether it was like bunting if I was playing second or just like knowing I had a hurt injury. So we kind of all just like kept it quiet, like didn't really know too much like about it because we didn't get like an MRI or anything. So I came back like way too early with the injury.
You were just sore and playing through it though, right?
Exactly. I was just playing hurt, taping up, like doing everything I needed to do just to get back out there. But yeah, it was tough playing through it and just trying to come back, push for the playoffs. And I mean, it was a grind, but I would do the same thing all over again, to be honest.
And to think that you were, obviously you might have been compensating, but you certainly didn't really, MAAC Player of the Week at one point last year, right?
Yeah, so that was actually my first weekend back playing. Well, second, I played a game.
Why would anybody think anything was that wrong, right?
Yeah, no. So I played a game at, I think it was Niagara. So we played at Niagara, or it was Canisius, I'm sorry. So we played at Canisius, and I got a game in, and I was like 1 for 2, and then I got a single to right, and I was rounding first base, and like it just didn't feel good. Like Coach Davis saw like I wasn't doing good, and we had another game after that, and he was like, "All right, I'm sitting you this game. Like we need you for the next weekend because we need to get a top 4 seed so we could be home." And I was like, "Okay." So I sat that game. That was our 4th game. And then we played St. Peter's. So this was like my first real like weekend back playing full time. And I actually didn't take BP. I barely even like practiced. And Coach Davis was totally understanding of it, like kind of just let me do my own thing. And won MAAC Player of the Week after barely taking BP and just kind of playing. And it was really cool how like Coach Davis understood my injury and like really kind of just let me go out there and play and like just do what I could have. And yeah, I somehow won MAAC Player of the Week after.
So let that be a lesson to you kids. Batting practice is not important at all, right?
Absolutely not.
So
last time I hit a home run in batting practice had to be when I was like 12 years old on a little field, for being honest.
So let's talk about your we're going to show a clip here. You're telling me you were hurt and still managed to pull this kind of play off here against St. Peter's, and you'll see this in a second. That's even short, right? I mean, that's
yeah. So that was first game back in the field actually, because Pete was our ace, and that was our first game back. And if you go back to the video, actually, you see me pick up my right foot because I couldn't plant and throw. So I was doing everything just all arm, like kind of just playing like with athleticism. And like I couldn't plant and throw my back foot. So I pick up my right foot like I was like a ballerina or something. And I kind of just winged it over there. And it just, when you're playing, you don't feel it too much because like the adrenaline's going.
Right. And you just do what you have to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was in a lot of pain, but I wasn't telling anybody. Like, and then I got the MRI actually back, and it wasn't good. So,
So you were kind of split between second and short when you were playing during the year, right? Is that
yeah. So depending on like who was doing well in our lineup and like what was going on, sometimes like who was pitching, who was hitting well, who was fielding well, I would kind of just play everywhere because like I'm pretty comfortable playing both positions. So whoever was hot, I just let them go and kind of just fill in the other one, you know?
right? Because you had Jordan, you had Jake playing a lot in the middle infield right during the
Exactly.
season.
Yeah. So depending on like who was hot, who was working, they kind of just stuck them out there. You know, we were deep. So,
Three good middle infielders,
oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Couple dogs.
Yeah, and they're both back obviously for 2022. That's got to be one of the things that's exciting is how many guys are back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool just to like see all the guys who are coming back. But the seniors, we had a really good group of seniors. We only had like 5 of them, but they were all like the most unbelievable like leaders you could ask for. So yeah, everyone's saying like we have a lot of guys coming back, but like our actual team, like morale is we need to pick up the slack because like those guys carried so much weight that like you don't see like unless you're behind the scenes, you know?
No, you can't. There's no Sean like a Sean McGeehan is more than just the sum of his numbers
So
for
much
sure.
more. Like he had his worst year actually playing with us, like throughout all of his years at college.
Yep.
But if we didn't have him on our team, there's no way we go to the
I
NCAAs.
said might have had his
Like,
biggest impact too.
yeah, like there's no way he like took all of us under his wing. Like he's someone that you need on a team to win and like go to
Hmm.
somewhere like Louisiana or somewhere big and like make it to the NCAAs. Like you need a guy like him. So it's gonna be fun to see like who steps up this year and who like really takes leadership and like who you can see like develop as like a player like that.
Yeah, because now that everybody's gone, right, the hope's got to be that guys can take those lessons and apply them to what's in store for this year.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's gonna be cool just to like see what's going on and who takes charge.
So let's talk MAC baseball for a little bit then, because for years, kind of like the reputation had been, one bid and lucky to get one bid, and so going into COVID year, Fairfield starts out as the national team, story in the country. They start out 27-0.
Yeah.
You've got, you guys obviously take control and we'll talk about the postseason and sweep to the, 5 straight games to win the conference, between the play-in weekend and then the actual tournament. So it's a 2-bid league for the first time ever, right? You got Monmouth with a potential high draft pick and stacked team. You got
Yeah.
Marist, which was really, really good last year, but had so many COVID issues to deal with.
Mm.
You got Niagara, you got Canisius, it's a pretty loaded league this year.
I mean, yeah, there's a ton of like good players. This year there was a ton of guys, and I think there's a ton of guys coming back, just like in the MAC in general, because I know a lot of guys are getting like that extra year back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, we're the MAC's like no joke now. The MAC's got some really good players, and we got some really good pitchers like Monmouth. Trey tells me all the time how good some of those dudes are, and he doesn't even talk about himself.
Right.
And rightfully so. He's going to be the one that gets picked super high, and he's not even talking about himself. So just like hearing him like chirp about his team, and then I know Maris has got some dudes like Colin Mackel, Justin Kabaczynski. I play with those guys. Those are some really good ball players. And then yeah, I mean there's some talent here. So I mean it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be competitive, and it's just what we want.
Conference switched to 3 single nines, right, for the schedule this year
Yeah.
instead of the double headers. You like that more?
I don't know. I kind of liked playing the double headers. I just like love playing baseball. Like I could play for hours on time. So just like it's fun because you get to play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't really mind it. It's a ton of baseball either way. But it's gonna be more realistic, I guess, because like that 7 inning game, it was kind of just like, all right, who's kind of I don't want to say who scores first, but like whoever picks up that momentum, it's so hard to come back. Only
Yeah.
7 innings, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess I like it better because it's more like realistic baseball, you know?
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. The longer games, I mean, it's just hard to control with one pitcher and a couple early runs.
Yeah, like you got that one dude, and a 7 inning game is easy to win.
Yep,
So
yep. Speaking of one dude, you got Frankie leading the charges this year on in the rotation. You know, obviously
yeah.
having to fill Pete's shoes, Pete Soborowski, but you got some guys behind Frank and some guys coming back hopefully for the season that have been out. So you're pitching, you know, you hear a lot about Monmouth's pitchers, but you're probably pretty excited too.
Yeah, we got some dudes almost like I feel like our pitching staff is super similar to Monmouth because we have two starters that are coming back in Dylan Hine and Alex Akis. And those guys are really good starting pitchers. They just both Tommy John. Our closer's coming back, Vinny Viteco. And then Frank, just you know what you got out of him. You got a stud. So it's really cool that we have three guys who are starting. And then we have Kenny coming back. Kenny's an awesome starter. So right there is just four really good starters that we have, similar to Monmouth. So, and you got the big lefty, even though Monmouth's got a couple of them. We got one too. And it's cool to see how like every single weekend is going to be like a competition because everyone's going to have those dudes, you know? And if you don't, then you're just not going to compete. But luckily we have them and they're coming back healthy and strong. So it's going to be fun and competitive.
So we go through the season, right? You kind of up and down during the season. The team, you know, a lot of up and down, and comes into that final weekend, right? Right after a terrible weekend against Siena, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the bats were like not even quiet; they were just silent, you know, like not even there.
Yeah.
And so that's the momentum you take into the conference tournament, right?
Yeah. So against Siena, we scored 1 run on a balk. And we got shut out in the 3 games. So we went 1-4. We won 1 out of 4, and our 1 run was a balk.
And it was a 1-0 win, right? That was the
and that actually got us the 4 seed, which is crazy. Actually, the 3 seed,
3, yeah,
which is crazy to think about because Petrowski's one of the best coaches I've ever played for. He's like the man. I love him. I would go to war with that guy. And Herb was on third base and he starts telling Herb, like he kind of like always is like that. Cause we've played in like scrimmages and Petrowski's always my coach. And he was telling Herb, like, if he's like, come set, you go. Cause like, he's going to flinch. And he came set and Herb started going home. And we don't really know if he balked or not. It was super close, but Petrowski sold it like he had the worst balk of his life. Uncalled it, can't reverse it. And that won us the game. That got us the 3 seed. And if we don't get the 3 seed, we probably verse Marist. And Marist beat us pretty bad the first 2 times. So luckily we got the 3 seed and that brought us some serious momentum. So like little things like that, like if Petrowski never did that, we might never be at Fairfield in the last round.
Amazing.
It's just so like crazy to think about.
So many little things because the conference was so close between like 3 and 3, 4, 5 for sure.
Yeah.
We're just so close.
Oh, it's like crazy. Like tiebreakers, like who played like more games, like just like stuff like that. And one like Petrowski just like throwing his hands in the air and saying it was a balk, even though it might have not been. That literally could have won us the MAAC championship.
Yeah,
right there.
Played enough games against Mike and Legion and other things through the years. I can not even there, and I can
totally picture it. Yeah. And like if you were there, you would have believed it too. Even if you saw him step off, you would have said, "Oh, he balks." You wasn't out there.
Yeah. No. So you get through the Niagara weekend, and the offense comes back around, and it's a great weekend, and you got fans in the stands for the first time all year, and that takes you up to Fairfield for the conference tournament, right? And as the 3, you get your buddies at Monmouth the first round. Crazy game, 2 really just so even teams throughout the year, and of course it's going to go down to the wire, right?
Yeah. So against Monmouth, it was pretty cool, just like playing them because I played against most of those guys like my entire life.
Yep.
And just like being like 10 minutes from Monmouth, it's just like cool, like to play, like finally be there and play them. Because the first time we played them, I just got hurt, and then I didn't play. I actually pinch fielded in the last inning, so I didn't play against Monmouth because like our guys were hot, and I was like, you know what, like they're rolling, like let's go, we're winning, hell yeah, let's go. So it was cool to be there and like compete with them, even though I didn't play, it was just like cool, just like playing against them and like
And
it's a cool atmosphere too.
and the typical back and forth game, late rider rally, which became the thing at that point, right? I mean, we in General's country will remember Frank Del Guercio and his big sacrifice bunt.
Oh my God, legendary! Are you kidding me? I couldn't. We all couldn't believe it, but like he had to.
So we gave him an at bat during the season, during the ACBL season, because of that, and struck out, took called strike 3.
Not wasting his bullets,
No,
He's saving them for big time situations. That's what I always say.
That's right.
Every time I get out, if it's like 2 outs, nobody on, and everyone's just like, "Oh, you got out." I'm just like, I'm just saving my bullets for the runners are on,
Yep. So we come to the game that you're saving it for, obviously. Before your game, right? Before your game against Monmouth even happens, Fairfield, the team that was 31-1 or something like that when they took the field.
Yeah.
Not Niagara. Canisius throws a freshman at him, absolutely shoves, beats him 3-1, 4-1, something like that.
He was very good.
Game.
That kid's a great pitcher.
So does that, at that point, do you start thinking like weird things are starting to happen your way, or?
So what happened? We were on the bus ride up, and we're all like saying like Fairfield's so good, blah blah blah. And our seniors, like this is where our seniors come into play. Like of course the young guys, like we're like not experienced. The first time going to the playoffs, first year technically, and all the seniors are like Pete saying, "Well, I mean it's the playoffs, anything can happen." We're just like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, shut up. So we finally get to the field, like. And Fairfield's losing, and we're like, it's okay. The 4th inning, 5th inning, 6th inning, and we're like, oh my God, they're about to lose.
It's not changing.
It's like the 8th inning, and Fairfield's down by I think like 3, and we're like, okay, they get like a runner on, and then they have 2 outs in like the 8th inning. It's like the bottom of the 8th inning. Kid, it's a home run, bomb for Fairfield, and we're just all like, okay, like here it is, Fairfield's gonna win. Kid up Fairfield missed home plate. I don't know if you heard about this. Kid at Fairfield missed home plate. The 1 run scored. That kid was called out. Everybody on the other team was losing their mind. Everyone at the stadium was losing their mind. And Fairfield lost right there. And we're like, we got a shot to win this thing. Like that's literally because we're like, anything could happen. The kid just hit a home run in his first playoff game ever because he's also in our grade.
Right.
And it was the catcher and backup catcher. And he missed home plate. And we're like, yeah. Anything could happen. They were right. So that like kind of just gave us like the confidence to like really be like, all right, let's just do it 1 game at a time,
So you get Canisius the next round. A little bit lower scoring, but kind of similar to the Monmouth game in that it's back and forth. You fall behind. Jordan ties it with the hit. You fall behind it again in the 9th, and you're not starting. But what's kind of going through your head at this point?
So at the time, Coach Davis came over to me and was kind of just like, all right, you might pitch hit, just be ready. And I'm just like sitting there, like trying to do my, my ankle mobility just to get like my ankle warm. Cause like it still was hurting so bad. So I was like, all right, if I get in there, I'm just going to keep a simple approach, right center, just do my job. So runners come on base and like, Coach Davis was like, yeah, if like the situation comes, you're going up. You're our first guy off the bench. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm sitting there just like catching my breath, just not thinking too much of it. Cause if you let the moment get too big, then like, if you let the moment get bigger than yourself, then you're not going to make anything out of it. So it's kind of catching my breath, just staying humble, just being there. And then Brian Scatini comes up and Coach Davis goes, all right, Volpe, you're up next. So Brian Scatini came up. He was supposed to bunt, ended up bunting it back to the pitcher, actually. Gave him a little crap for that. But pass ball happened when I was up, and it was a 1-2 count, and just guy laid a fastball away. It was a good pitch. I just had the approach of being away.
Let's show the video on it, and you feel free to talk over it or not talk over it. And I want to hear what's going through your head as all this is happening, because it's Ryder's biggest single hit in quite a few years. I'd say at least since the late '80s, probably.
1-2. Volpe lines that to right. It's a base hit. 1 run scores. Coming around third, Diamanis. He is safe. Walk-off base hit. Ryder.
Yeah, so that's just like crazy even to watch now, just like looking at it. Just like still
Yeah.
hard to believe. Like still hasn't like sunk in yet, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm stopping it here because like just the absolute craziness of like that's the wildest,
Oh yeah.
walk-off chase I think I've ever seen.
So yeah, so actually after I hit it, the first thing I did, I grabbed my helmet and like I wasn't even sure if the runner was gonna be safe, but I grabbed my helmet as I was rounding first base, and then I heard safe and everyone started running on the field. I tried throwing my helmet and like the Bryce Harper incident where he rushed the mound and threw his helmet and it went absolutely nowhere. That's exactly what happened to me. I threw it and it might have went 3 feet, maybe.
They're not meant to be thrown. They're
No,
just
no. So I tried throwing it and didn't go anywhere. And I see my coach, best assistant coach ever, Alex Rayburn. And it was really cool to have him like being the first base coach because he was the guy that like really helped me have like a really good season this year, just like keeping that like short approach to right field. And it was really cool having him there. Just like, so he actually sprinted at me and he was like, kind of thought like he stopped like halfway and he was like, crap, I'm a coach. I got to be professional. And like you saw him like be super excited. And then he kind of just, you see him in the video, like turn his head and start walking back because like he can't come dogpiling with all the players. So like you could tell though that he was so excited though, because like he totally took me under his wing. And like I had a rough start to the season, and middle of the season I was really locked in, barreling everything. And it was all because of him, because like he taught me his approach, his mental side of it, and just like keeping everything short. And so it was really cool to have him there and just like seeing his expression, like, and how much he really cared about like his players and what that meant to him, even just being like an assistant. So
you get through that, and at that point, there's not. You could have played the Yankees in the championship. It probably
no
wouldn't
doubt, yeah.
have mattered. It kind of but that doesn't mean it has to be a normal game. It still becomes a crazy game because suddenly in like the third or fourth inning, it becomes home run derby for you guys for a few innings, right?
Yeah, that was sweet. So like even in batting practice, we don't hit like a crazy amount of home runs.
Yeah.
But once, so Kyle hit a bomb and we're all like, okay, like let's go. Like we got some momentum. And then Lou hit that home run. And everybody got the chills in the stadium. Everyone had like the same feeling, like, okay, like we were all kind of just like thinking, like, this is it. Like we're gonna win. Like seriously, like even though it was early, but Lou just gave us the momentum. He came in and he was like crying a little bit. And we're like, Lou, why are you crying, man? You just hit a home run. But he was so excited, just like, and the whole team was just so excited for him. And that's what really sparked everything. And then like Brian hit a bomb, Socrates hit a bomb, and momentum was just flying. And every time we swung, we swore we could hit a home run. That's just like how like good of a team we felt. So we just had like crazy momentum. And Fairfield was barreling balls up, but we were just like, it just like was like one of those things where it's like almost not fair, like how it's like the NBA finals, even though we're playing on their home field, it's like it doesn't even matter. Like the home team's gonna win, and we felt like we were home, even though Fairfield had like thousands of fans there for them.
Yeah. If only the regionals could have been played the next day, you probably would have beaten Vanderbilt or something, right?
Honestly, like with the feelings we had, I mean, we're saying that now, but we were feeling ourselves. It was cool.
So you got me a picture after that game that I'll
have to
certainly remember a long time. Tell us about the Sandlot / Generals picture.
Yeah, so I mean, it was really cool because like we all played like in the Generals. We all played for the Generals, so like it was really cool that like you had so many guys on the team, and like it was kind of like a appreciation thing. Like, damn, if we didn't play in that, we might not be here right now. So like it was kind of like a secondhand, like almost like a secondhand like ring ceremony for you almost. Like as we were getting as we get our rings, like you might as well just get one because like you coached all of us.
Don't tell Barry that because I don't know that that's part of the budget.
I mean, we're still his guys, but we're your guys too.
We'll just get some pictures. That's right. So you champs, you got a week, the week, of practice. You got a week of like, hearing from everybody. You got a week of, you got the Monday of finding out where you're going to go. What's that whole week in between? Just that kind of culmination of, look, a bunch of Jersey guys got together and did this.
Yeah, it was really cool because like we're like last year we were super young, and like all kind of just like usually as like a young team like that, like in high school, when I played my sophomore year, we were actually like we lost, and we all had that sorrow feeling. Okay, we're young, we got another year.
Mhm.
We won, so it was almost like odd that we won because like we're like, oh my god, we're only technically freshmen, and we already won, and we're still like playing. Like this is awesome. So like we were all just like super like we were all just like super like grateful to be there and still playing with the seniors because like that's what we were all kind of worried about. Like when the seniors left and like might not like they're not gonna come back. So like it was cool to just be there and we really did appreciate the practices more. Like after like 2.5 hour practices, like we wouldn't care about leaving. We all just kind of wanted to stay and just like
Yeah.
hang out because we knew it was like our last like it
You
was our
never
last week.
you never know in baseball when magic is going to happen and you come together like that and it's a team that
Exactly.
you'll always that first game you could down in Louisiana, you're playing the host. It's their stadium was destroyed 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
They had to rebuild it. It's the first time there. There was not much you were going to do in that game to have a shot. But
Yeah.
you play Alabama the second game, right? A Power 5 SEC team. Obviously nobody believes in moral victories, but you learn something probably about yourselves that it may not feel the same as a win, but you probably learn some lessons that take you into the off season, I would think.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I learned by far against playing Alabama, like those guys were unbelievable. Some of those dudes like tip the cap, like they're going to be in the MLB one day, like so good. But one of the biggest things I learned was I'm not saying like the only reason that they're just from down south, but we're the same type of dudes as them. Like we can compete with them any day of the week. It was just kind of the thing like, okay, maybe they were better than us when we were younger, but now we're like caught up with them and we could definitely compete with them any day of the week. No doubt in my mind. And it kind of showed there that like we had some dudes playing that were better than the kids on Alabama. And like maybe not like statistically, like maybe not like, okay, like they hit a ball off a bat harder than us. They have a harder exit velo. But I really believe that like we had guys that were 100% can compete with them every day of the week. And that's just like what you get that confidence. So now going in and playing
Yeah.
any big time schools, we know like we start off with Wake Forest next year.
Mhm.
And we're going to go in with total confidence because we know we could play schools like that.
Sean McGeehan could play anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Frankie could pitch for anybody in the country. Until you experience it though, you don't realize
You fully understand, like, all right, these kids are just like us.
Yeah, it's more than just those two. There's a lot of guys that can,
It's like they're not superheroes. Like they're just like us, and we play just as hard as them and work just as hard as them. Just maybe they were better when they were younger, but
I'm gonna say that one of the cool things about the summer before with the Sandlot was there was so many guys and so many mixture of guys from different schools that the same thing kind of happened for some of those D3 guys.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We had there were some dudes that were unbelievable, and I was like, "Where's he going? Where's he?" They're like TC&J. I'm like,
yeah,
seriously? And they were like, "Yeah." And TC&J, they're ballers over there. That's a good Division III program. But like, it's crazy to think because some of these guys could play at big time schools. And they're in Division III and they're having fun. They're getting their education, and they're still unbelievable. And they do not get enough appreciation. I get to be the first person to say that.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan McCarty was as good as anybody that played last summer, and he's going. And I'm bringing him up, of course, because he's working with us this fall a little bit.
Oh,
but,
yeah, cool.
He's playing at Penn State Abington.
Yeah,
taking Connor deep in our playoffs.
and even some of the Mercer guys, like
yeah,
a lot of those JUCO guys are like better than kids that we play.
Yeah.
And better than some of the kids, like even when we played like bigger schools, like in the CAA, like those guys can play there. Like there's no reason. They just got to get the exposure and just the confidence and play well in front of the
Yeah, I think the thing that you realize in going through what you did is the name on the front of the jersey doesn't mean a thing.
No. That's big thing.
Yeah.
Big.
So get through the summer, you find out that my ankle was broken. I'm not playing this summer. Kind of a bummer, obviously, with all your buddies doing great things, but you've used the time productively, right? I mean, what have you done to, you said earlier before we were on here that in a way, going through playing what you did and playing the way you did actually you found the silver lining in being hurt and what it did to your game.
Yeah.
How are you a better player now than you were before last season?
So playing with a hurt ankle, I definitely think it's going to help me in the long run because it really taught me like a different approach to baseball. So I used to go in there and I didn't want to say I'd be like trying to swing for a home run, but like, you always have that idea in your mind, like maybe this pitch I'm going to hit a home run. So like you always have like maybe like you're going to pop one up or you're going to top spin one. Like you have that approach. So with my ankle, I like physically could not do that. Like when I first hurt my ankle, because I couldn't put pressure like in my back foot like 25%. So I had this approach of just sticking the other way and just playing like almost like small ball and just doing my job, like not doing anything, doing my job so I can get on the field. And now that I have that approach and I'm healthy, I think it's just like it almost brings a new aspect of like your game. So like getting hurt, yeah, it brought you down at first, but now it's like I'm healthy and I have that same approach. So it's just like I think that definitely helped me a lot.
So what are we hoping for this fall? You got A, to get everybody back on the field together again, but what do you think B kind of needs to be done to get you guys ready to, it sounds good to say, repeat as champs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy feeling. So I mean, Petrowski, one of the first things he said, and he made it very clear after we lost to LA Tech, like you think like, okay, like LA Tech or 16th in the country, like coaches won't be that mad that we lost like 18-2. They were mad, like, because they expect us to play that kind of level, which is awesome. That's what you want. So Petrowski was kind of telling us like he was pissed off, which is good. Like you want that because you want to be pushed. And he was telling us like you guys got to get more physical. Those dudes look like they are 5 years older than you, and they are your age, and some even younger. And they look way bigger than you, way stronger than you. So everyone this summer kind of like really locked in on the weight room as their number one. At least I did. And I know a lot of kids that didn't play did. Weight room number one and baseball two, because we can always work on the baseball in fall.
Right.
But like we really worked on like getting physical, being strong. And that's like a huge aspect of the game that a lot of us like didn't have and like took entirely advantage of. So one thing I did, because Petrowski was preaching, is we need to get more physical and stronger. So I mean,
that was one thing you were able to,
lifted a lot, and then
help you do that.
Yeah, now that my ankle's healthy, I've been running a lot too, a lot of sprints. So, because that's what you need to do at the next level to play those like Power 5 schools and those big time schools like that. If you're not physical, you're not making it. You know,
you got guys, 4 or 5 guys at each position who can be that guy, right? And that's the other difference I think between with the bigger schools is just depth.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. They had guys that were just like, if you saw their BP, you'd be like, whoa, these guys, and they're not even playing, like,
right.
And then, but for the fall, I'd say our goals are kind of just keep the same thing that we had going. We played a lot of small ball towards the end of the year where we got like hot. So I think we're gonna keep that going. Kind of the same approach. No one try and like do too much. Like no one who's not a home run hitter hit like home runs.
That's why the championship game was crazy because you guys played your best when you, like you said, going really the first weekend of the conference tournament, getting away from that, and going to more of a small ball.
Yeah. I mean, so I feel like in the fall we're definitely gonna tune in on that a lot more. Definitely, I bet you the coaches have us lifting 4 times a week, definitely, because they really preach getting physical. And we're all young too, so we got time.
That's good. Yeah.
So getting physical is going to be one thing, lifting a lot, probably going to be running a lot. And then we do a lot of actually mental work with like the mental side of baseball, because that's like not talked about enough. And that's one thing that we do that I think we have a total advantage on every other school. We had a guy come talk to us. His name was Brian Kane. And we do a lot of like mental stuff. And I know the pitchers like do their yoga for like, flexibility and stuff, but mental side, we do a lot of stuff. Like I know our pitchers do a lot of shadow bullpens. And like, I feel like that side is not talked about nearly enough in baseball. 100%. And we do that and we have a total advantage on everybody else. Cause when it goes bad, we're ready for it, and we have that side of like, okay, what's like the worst thing that can happen and what's our ceiling? What's the best that can happen? So we're always prepared for the worst. And if the best happens, then
most games are decided by how you limit the damage versus the other way
Absolutely.
around.
Yeah.
You know, you're giving up one run at a time versus 4 or 5, you're going to win.
Yeah. So fall probably a lot more of the mental side too. Because there was times that we definitely did have mental collapses, including myself. So
Mhm.
I mean, definitely got to tune in on that a lot more. And but yeah, we're ready for the fall. Like we're all excited, and September 8th comes, we're gonna be ready to go.
Again, we're here with Johnny Volpe, the outstanding middle infielder for Ryder, getting ready to, as I said, get back at it in the fall and work towards a repeat. Got some other stuff coming soon, hopefully, and heard from Trey that you're not bad as a chef.
I'm a great cook. So actually when school ended and we were still playing baseball, me and Brendan O'Donnell, Generals legend too.
Yes.
He used to play, we used to cook, and one of us used to make the meat and the other ones used to make the sides. And we used to cook up like pork chops, chicken, steak.
So is that going to be the deal in your play? Are you guys going to do the bulk of that this year too, or?
I mean, I hope so. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I hope he kind of just cooks. I hope he takes over.
And when we say need to be more physical, I think we probably should just say be more like Brendan.
Oh my God. He's a robot. He's not even real. That's what everyone calls him. Cause like we'll go lift. We'll have like 6 a.m. lift sometimes, and we'll lift, and then we'll go run on the track, and he lifts by far the hardest. Not even like he's one of the hardest workers I've ever been around, and he will come in first on the track and lift the hardest and be in the weight room the longest, and we're like, how's he doing it? Like, because usually the people that slack in the weight room will be good in the track.
Right.
Just because like smaller guys like will be good on the track and smaller guys will be worse in the weight room. He's the best at both, and just like crazy. Like, and he had a really good summer. And when it clicks for him, he's going to be a baller. He's going to be unbelievable.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, I appreciate the time as always. Always good
Always.
to connect here.
Yeah,
And,
appreciate you having me. This is awesome.
Certainly look forward to getting to see some ball this fall. Be a lot different than last year. We'll get out there and see some inter squads, get some videos, and hopefully see some of your Mercer. You get some games with Mercer. That would be great too.
Yeah, definitely.
So excellent. Well, that's it for the show this week. It's Johnny Volpe again. We hopefully get that out soon and get a chance to watch Frank Doling's roommate, Johnny Volpe.